What's going on? So it's been a little while since I've last done a video. I've been working on stuff here and there, just building up money, getting things together. Haven't had really much of anything to show off, so just wasn't really making videos. But I'm planning on getting back into it, maybe not as frequently as when I first started, because all that was just free work, something I can do every weekend. Right now I'm practically in the building stage, so it takes time, takes money I don't really have. My little thing, what I do with the gauge panels, it doesn't really make too much profit, mostly 1 or 2 sales a month, and that goes right into maintaining the website and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff really does just come right out of my pocket. I'm hoping maybe with all of this right here, it's something that's badass, maybe something you'll be interested in, and hopefully I can actually start making a little bit of profit and maybe develop some more things. I'm a one-man show, so here we go. Let's take a look at what we got here. So, Wilwood brakes and spindles. These are 2-inch drop spindles from Wilwood. They're a 2-piece design. They're quite light. Obviously I can pick one up with my left hand, it's not too bad. I wanted to go with the Mustang 2 stuff because it's somewhat similar to the Dodge stuff, as in it uses a K772 ball joint for the upper, which is what I have right here, these K772s. But that's the thing, they are upper ball joints, not lower ball joints. And I know for years and years, many years, people have used the 772 as an upper and a lower. Doesn't mean it's right. As you can see in there, there's not a lot of meat in there. And if you look at a proper lower, which I have in here, a little bit dusty. There's a whole lot more meat in there, and that's the bearing surface for that kind of load. But obviously a 727 is not going to fit in a Mustang 2 spindle. So after months and months of research and forum reading and everything like that, what I found is there's a couple companies, QA1, Howell Racing, a few others that I can't remember the names of, but they make rebuildable ball joints where they have 2 separate pieces. And this is what I found from other forums. The K719 will fit in these sleeves right here. Sorry, I'm not moving the camera as much. I'm looking at what I'm doing and not the camera. These sleeves right here, they fit the K772, which is this. And they also fit the K719. So it's the same thread, same depth and everything. The difference being the 719 has a thicker stud. You would normally have to ream the lower spindle to accept the stud. But what I'm going to do is get the rebuildable sockets for the 719 and then stick the 772 ball in there, because it's the same size ball from Howell Racing. I don't know if it's the same for QA1 or the others, but I'm going to go with Howell Racing, H-O-W-E. So that's the plan with my lowers. I mean, like everybody says, people have been using the Moog 772s as lowers forever and not really had problems. Me, I want to be as problem free as possible. I want longevity, not something I'm going to have to replace every 2 years. Whatever the length is. Anyways, let's move on into this. I also got these Viking coil lowers. These were a set specifically for the D100, D150 from 72 to 93. As luck would have it, this right here is a 5/8 stud or hole through right here. I can put a 5/8 bolt. These are 5/8. And this is where the shock mounts, and those are 3/4, and they accept those. So basically it'll mount exactly like a Mustang 2. I don't have to use the T-bar that comes with these because these are perfect. These are double adjustable, which QA1 for the same price is only a single adjustable. I've heard that these are a little bit better for racing, not so much for street, but I plan to drag race and autocross my truck anyway, so that's perfect. These springs are tapered, so they'll mount directly to the coilover right on the thrust washers, and the top will go right into the pocket of the D100, so perfect. Let's see, what else we got here? Lower control arms. So this is my third design update. I've had 2 designs before this. They weren't so great. They were kind of funky looking, not super strong in my opinion. I was just going through the motions of the design. You know, no design is ever perfect first try. So this is my third design update. The only thing I didn't have was mounting for the tension struts, or strut rods, whichever you want to call them, which are these. So these are the stock tension struts off of the Dodge truck, and I wanted to see where they would mount on here and go backwards. And since they fit good, I'm going to cut these down, add these rod ends, and then put rod ends with rubber bushings in the ends and mount them to the frame directly rearward facing, like how I was doing earlier with that other idea, but I think that other idea is kind of shit. I'm using Heim joints instead of a solid mount, which would allow these to move a little bit, so that's probably not a good thing. Anyways, 3 pieces. We got a bottom, a side, and a side, and they are what do you call it, symmetrical, so they can go left or right, it doesn't matter. So yeah, upper control arms, they're also redesigned a little bit, fewer pieces. Before I just had like separate tabs, kind of like these on each end, and then I would have side braces on each end, and it made like a little weak point right here. So I made it so that the bushing tabs go the full length of the control arm, so everything's all integral. Of course, we got the bushings for those. Those are stock bushings, so nothing fancy, nothing crazy. These will actually last, unlike polyurethane. Same thing with the lowers, stock bushings, they just press right in. And what else do we got? That's pretty much it as far as parts itinerary. So what I'm gonna do today is weld these up, and I only have 2 sleeves for ball joints. I'm gonna get some more here in the next week, and I'm gonna get those rebuildable ball joints, so I'll use these as uppers because there's nothing wrong with a Moog upper. And then I'll get the howl for the lowers. I'll get 2 more of these sleeves, finish welding those up, and then I'm gonna send these off to powder coating if they fit right. So I'm gonna get these welded up, and without installing the shocks and struts and all that shit, I'm gonna test fit them, make sure the articulation's good, the clearance is good, and eyeball the alignment, make sure I got good caster camber. Yeah, anyways, can't use the machines, my truck's pretty much in pieces. It's gonna come eventually. One of my buddies here is gonna do van lowers, so I'm gonna do an upper control arm kit for him. And my boss has that extended cab Cummins, and I'm gonna do an upper and lower set for the Dodge spindle for him. So this is the kit for Mustang spindles. My boss is gonna do the exact same kit but for Dodge spindles, and my coworker is gonna do an upper control arm. So pretty much all 3 packages I have planned out is coming very soon. So without further ado, I'm gonna get set up and start welding. All right, well, it's a couple weeks later. Got Dumpty in the bay on a rack and ready to go. Speaking of ready to go, I got the other control arms welded up here. So Both lowers, both uppers are fully welded. Got the ball joint collars in. And I gotta put the bushings in still for the new ones that I just welded up. So bushings, one more test fit, and then I'm gonna paint them and then do a full install. So basically, I'm just gonna capture some footage here and there. It's basically gonna be a speed run. Nothing too detailed. Everybody's putting an upper and a lower control arm in. When I get down to some more of the details, like putting in the lower control arm with the coil over and the knuckles, I'm gonna have a little bit of footage on that. So let's see how this turns out. So I got problems. That is very positive camber. I need to make my upper arm a little bit shorter. And the caster's way off. I tried the arm both ways. I get a little bit of positive this way, and with the arm flipped, I get a shitload of wait, this is negative caster, and with it flipped, I get a lot of positive casters. A little too much. It looked like well over 10 degrees, and you don't want that much. All right, so Wednesday, pulled into the shop. We had a 4-day weekend. Cut out some cardboard. Got the cardboard fit in there. Got my measurements. Everything fits snugly with the cardboard, and it's a flat piece, so I was able to transfer that over to my program. And I've already sent it off to get cut, so that should be here sometime early this coming week. And I'll be able to put the rack and pinion and bolt it in place, and that part will be done. Still on the last set of control arms, but I'm going to weld these up today. So these are going to get welded up today. Unfortunately, I don't have the right bushings on here, because the bushings on here are the offset Moogs. You won't be able to see them in there, but they are offset bushings for better alignment. And I got straight bushings, because that's how confident I am in this iteration. So I'm going to get these welded up. I'll put the offsets in here for the time being, just to make sure everything's lined up right. I'll just put the offset to the top, so it'll be neutral. The lowers I'm excited about, because that should be dialed in. There should be no more updates for the lowers. Here's my rack and pinion. It's been a great little test piece. This is the, was it 82 through 88 Thunderbird design? I guess something flows better. I wasn't really clear on the details, because I've read it over a month ago. And I didn't read anything before making this footage. But I think it flows better and that it's metric. I can't tell, but it's a Mustang 2 dimensions, so exactly for a Mustang 2. It'll bolt into any Mustang 2 chassis or aftermarket stuff. The thing is, from this pivot to this pivot on the inner tie rods is 24 inches. On this center link, from this pivot point to this pivot point, 24 inches. It's going to go exactly where the center link went, and that'll put it exactly where it needs to be. Because I've seen some where they're mounted way low, and it's like right off of the lower control arm pivots. But this will just be slightly higher. It'll be where the stock position is on the truck. I think it's going to work out fine. I think I'm going to have to flip these around. They'll flip side to side to make it so that they flip up. And I'll have to see, with weight on the truck on the ground, I'll have to see where they sit so I can figure out where I want to put tie rods. So that is still yet to come. And obviously I need to finish up the cab. I shot some footage of me cutting out the drip rail up there, so we'll see what I can cobble together on this video. I haven't shot a video on Dumpty in well over a year, so this is I'm rusty. Not that I ever had any skill to begin with, but this is just me doing a project. There we have it. All the main welding on the arms are done. And I am not touching that for a little while. The others have been down here cooling. I still need to weld on the ball joint collars. And on the lowers, I need to weld on the little sleeves for the coilovers. And on the uppers, I need to weld on the inner tabs for the bushings. So as soon as these cool off, I'll be able to handle them a little better and then get those other pieces welded on. It is another day and I got another part. So here's my 1/4 inch thick plate that I made for my rack and pinion. And this thing is fitting in there really nice. I have it tacked in 3 spots right now. I was wanting to get it nice and steady. I have it measured out, it's square. I'm gonna test fit the rack and pinion because I haven't done any video footage of this at all. I've been waiting to make sure everything was right because, as you know, with the control arms, it's taken me a whole year to get to this point. Yeah, that's exactly where it needs to be. It is dead center and it fits nicely, nothing binds up. It actually has wiggle room. So I'm gonna get this thing fully welded and then I'm gonna run bolts through it. I need to see how long I need to make my outer tie rods, because this is a wider track than a Mustang 2. So let me get through that and we'll come back. Okay, so this is going to be the final day of filming because I'm putting Dumpty's front end back together. It's going to be 100%. Everything has been figured out. I even got everything coated. These are the rear brackets for the tension struts or strut rods, whichever one you want to call them. I got the plate for the rack and pinion coated. I got the motor mount reinforced with a scrap piece of U-bolt. I'm never going to put a big block in this truck, so I'm using the small block holes, one big block hole for this little rod that I welded in, and that'll help with the pulling forces since I only have this little strip left after clearancing everything for the rack and pinion. More brackets. And control arms. Just paint everything in black. They looked really good in raw steel, but raw steel rusts. So I used the KBS chassis coating on all the suspension pieces here. Comes out with a very nice finish. And my uppers. This stuff will not come off. You can brake clean it, power wash it. It does not want to come off. This is a little over a year later, like 1.5 years. This is just dirt. It retained its gloss. It hasn't been in the sun back here, so it's still glossy. But of course, the front end was exposed to the sun for quite a while, and it lost its gloss. You can see where some pieces were bolted to the chassis. It's still glossy there because no sun, but the rest of it is sun faded. But even with it being sun faded, I can't wire wheel this stuff off. I literally had to take a flap wheel on my angle grinder and grind this finish off. Like, I had to take some of it off right here with sandpaper basically, because it just would not come off otherwise. But everything's coated. Let's get Dumpty's front end put back together, and then after that we're going to focus on the rear end, because the first thing I'm going to cross off on here is a quick performance, center section axles, all that stuff, plus a housing, because I was going to use this stock housing until Boss Man ordered his quick performance, and we put that in the dart and I fell in love. So we're getting a quick performance housing. It's just 500-600 bucks more. I'm not going to cry over that. Anyways, right here I got a scale, but unfortunately I only have the 2 different lower control arms. For some reason I couldn't find any stock uppers anywhere. I didn't keep my spindles with the brakes, but Dirty Deeds over here, the one that we're putting on airbags, we're gonna put my control arms on here for bags. They weren't designed for airbags, but we're gonna see what they do, because they still have better geometry than the stock stuff for lower trucks. I'm gonna have upper control arms, and I'm gonna weigh the spindles with the brakes and everything on them, but that'll be later on. For now, I only have these control arms, and we're gonna do a weight comparison between a stock, a van lower, and mine, which are like those. Okay, so got a weight scale here. It'll go up to 250 pounds or something like that. 150 pounds, okay. Nothing I have here is gonna weigh even close to that. So here's my upper control arm with the ball joint in it. Lower control arm with the ball joint in it. Unfortunately, I don't have the uppers, but I'm gonna weigh this anyways. If anybody has stock D100 uppers and they're able to put them on a weight scale, feel free to put them in the comments. I don't think the uppers are gonna weigh much less than the stocks, or they might even weigh a little bit more. But here we go. We got 8.5 pounds. Fully dressed upper. I am thinking The stock ones might be a little bit lighter, but I don't know for sure. I won't be able to get a measurement until either someone takes one for me or we get that bag truck over there taken apart in the front. But that'll be later. What do we got here? This is a stock lower control arm. Fully on the scale. We got real close to 10 pounds. 9 pounds, 13 ounces, 14 ounces. We're splitting hairs. So 9 pounds, 14 ounces for a stock lower. The van lowers are quite heavy because there's a lot more metal on them. All the way on the scale, we are getting close to 14.5 pounds. All right, so we got just over 9.5 and almost 14.5. Now here's my lower. $10. So these are meant to mimic the van lowers. We are 10 pounds versus 14 pounds, so about 4 pounds saving there. Damn near 4 pounds. It's like 3 point something. I'm not doing the math in my head on the fly right now. So we got my lowers fully dressed with ball joints and bushings. We got 10 pounds, 13 ounces versus 14.56 ounces. Now the real magic comes in the steering stuff. I got my Saginaw box, my power steering box off the Dumpty. We're at 29 pounds, 13 ounces. That is a heavy chunk of iron. And I don't even have the pitman arm on there. My pitman arm is over here somewhere. There it is. I should put the pitman arm with the gearbox. £2 5 ounces. All of that is 32 pounds and 3 ounces. This is hurting my wrist. I don't want to pick this up anymore. Now, how much is this Ford Mustang 2 rack and pinion? It's considerably lighter in the hand, and it has tie rods and everything. Okay, trying to get it where it's almost touching the bench. We're at 19 pounds and 1 ounce. And it already has tie rods on there. No need for a center link or inner tie rods. So this whole kit and caboodle here is already saving about 12 pounds. 12 pounds in the steering. I don't have complete spindles and hubs and everything for the D100, but these are very light. Like nothing. Oh, put this down. This is trying to get this thing to sit and play nice with me. Here we go. £26, 14 ounces. That is spindle. We got Heim joint for tie rod end. full brake rotor and caliper. 26 pounds. Here's a coil spring that was in Dumpty. Put the coil spring on the scale. And 17 pounds, 1 ounce. And I don't have a stock shock. They don't really weigh all that much. It's just gonna add a little bit of the weight to it. But as you've seen, I'm putting these Viking coilovers on. And this is shock and spring. Shock and spring, 12 pounds, 10 ounces, or 11 ounces. So yeah, and I don't even have a shock, so considerable savings there. As you can see, all put together. This looks so freaking good in person. This is one huge milestone. Physically, everything fits, everything works. The only thing I still have to work out is my Ackerman. The tie rods are straight, they're parallel with the ground, but my upper and lower control arms are still slightly angled. So when it goes through the travel, it toes in ever so slightly. So basically, I'm gonna have to machine me some new steering arms, because these are bolt-in steering arms. They're a little bit too short, so by machining some new ones, I'm gonna knock out two birds with one stone. Basically, I need them a little bit longer to fix the Ackerman, and I need them a little bit lower to fix the bump steer. I'm gonna have this thing dialed in because I am dead set on autocrossing this truck. Yeah, this is gonna be a blast. I am so excited that all the front end work is finally done. I have it slightly adjusted out in the rear to give it a little less caster. Because if you look straight up and down, it's probably like about 6-7 degrees, something like that. It's definitely more aggressive than factory, because factory has it about 0 degrees. So this will definitely help it in cornering and in straight line performance. So what's next? The cab needs to get finished, that's for damn sure. I have a section out of a Ramcharger to fix my little gap that I made right here, because all that was rotted out. So I got this drip rail section out of a Ramcharger. I can drill out the spot welds, cut out that little section, and then weld it into my cab. That'll be finished. Transmission is done. This is a TCI. It's a maximizer. It was a 4-wheel drive case, but I swapped tail housings from my old transmission. And since I only swapped the tail shaft, I didn't have to do any shims or adjustments or anything like that in there. As you know, the engine has been waiting to fire since 2020. We got a lot of goodies from Aces, waiting to put all that together. I need to do some work inside the cab. I want to fix up this dash a little bit, because it's you know how all these dashes are real thin metal and it's kind of warped. So I want to stiffen that up and make it a little better. The firewall, I got my firewall plates planned out. It's going to be 2 halves of a 1/8 thick steel. I'm going to weld it on there, and if everything fits good, then I'm going to double up the file into one piece and have a local shop cut me a piece of stainless, and I'll put the stainless over it. And so it'll be one nice shiny stainless firewall. Very clean. I'm going to have all the wires hidden and tucked. I don't want a rat's nest engine bay. This is going to be a do-everything truck. My very first project, and I am going overboard on it. I don't care. I don't know when I'll ever be able to do another project. As of now, I got 255 subscribers on YouTube. I've been at this for 2 years. I'm doing a very, very niche thing right here. No one really does these Dodge trucks. Everybody likes Ford and Chevys. Well, everybody and their auntie has a Ford and a Chevy. The aftermarket loves them. Well, I love these Dodges, and I make aftermarket parts for them. Don't forget, I make custom dash panels for these trucks. I've been doing it since 2021. So if you want to see more of Dumpty here, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.